While hospitalized at 7 months pregnant, my husband cheated on me with his cousin. He took my kid after childbirth, but I sued and won. Never expected this. At 28, I'm 4 months pregnant with my first kid and suspect my husband, Philip, of cheating with his cousin. Let me start again. 5 years ago, Philip and I met at a friend's BBQ. He charmed me with his pleasant smile and laid-back attitude. We met through trekking and board games. Our first date sucked. It rained as we returned to the car after the restaurant lost our reservation. Instead, we laughed and spoke for hours in a 24-hour diner. From then on, everything moved fast. Like living together after 6 months. Philip proposed in the mountains on our 1-year anniversary weekend. A few months later, we married in a small family and friend ceremony. Our first 4 years married were terrific. We had ups and downs like every couple, but we were happy and in love. We supported each other during employment and family transitions. We traveled, tried new things, and lived happily. We were ecstatic when I got pregnant 4 months ago. Philip cried delighted tears over my news. We imagined nursery themes and names. Everything changed when Philip's cousin, Stacy, moved in last month. She's 26 and interning for a year at our local office. I welcomed her into my home, but Philip's conduct altered. He started grooming more and paying more attention to his appearance. His gym attendance rose before the delivery to get in shape. He kept laughing at Stacy's quips and created reasons to remain near her. Sometimes when I entered, they stopped talking as if I'd interrupted. Stacy always flirted. She loves attention, especially from men. I tried to blame my worry on pregnancy hormones, but I knew something was wrong. My pregnancy started horribly. Unfortunately, morning sickness has kept me in bed several times. Since I'm sick, Philip hired a maid to cook and clean. Maria helped. She's a dear friend. As I've been sick, Philip and Stacy have spent more time together. They shop, watch movies in the living room, and wander at night. Since I can't do those things, Philip says it's to keep Stacy company, feeling alienated and suspicious. I've heard their awkward conversations. Stacy says, "Op is lucky to have you, and I wish I could meet someone like you." Philip liking Stacy's attire or whispered jokes. Philip and I's lack of intimacy hasn't helped. Due to complications, my doctor advised against sex for much of the pregnancy. Philip is agitated. He glances at Stacy too long while I'm not watching. Maria noticed the changes. She muttered that Philip and Stacy may be involved. She observed them smiling and talking in the kitchen late at night. She disturbed an intimate moment. When she appeared, they split fast. I confronted Philip with my suspicions after gathering my courage. My feelings were communicated. Something had changed, so I asked about Stacy. He reacted, calling me hormonal and crazy. He claimed I wasn't trusting and inventing, was hurt by his response. Despite no proof, I believed he ignored my concerns. He halted the chat after I requested open communication. Our connection has suffered since. I've stopped complaining, but hurt and distrust remain. While Philip appears okay, I sense our developing distance, scared and confused. 4 months pregnant, I feel like I'm losing my husband. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe my instincts are right. The baby's arrival worries me. Will things improve or worsen? Never thought I'd suspect my husband of cheating while pregnant. Solo, unsure future. Trying to be strong for the baby is destroying me. Unsure what to. Update 1. Since my last post 3 months ago, I wish I had better news. My 7-month-old pregnancy issues have me hospitalized. Stacy and Philip's situation worsened. My hospital bed rest has lasted weeks. Hypertension is bad, possible preeclampsia. My doctors closely monitor me and the baby. Philip sleeps in the uncomfortable hospital chair with me most of the time. He visits home every few days to shower, change clothes, and bring supplies. Stacy has sent flowers and magazines several times. A sweet cousin-in-law she seems. My suspicion is that her concern is false. She glances at Philip thoughtfully when I'm away. Philip has his toughest nights at home. While on the hospital bed, I imagine home life. My imagination imagines bad things. I talked to Maria, our maid, a lot before heading to the hospital. I told her my suspicions and asked her to watch while I was away. After this, Maria agreed without hesitation as a good friend. Maria's report broke my heart. She keeps finding excuses to visit the house, confirming my worst fears. Maria often noticed Philip's clothes on Stacy's floor. Stacy's underwear twisted in our wetted sheets. She's heard strange noises and quiet laughter in private. While I was in the hospital trying to preserve our child, Philip and Stacy seemed to be having a fairy tale honeymoon. Treachery hurts. Trusting either indefinitely feels silly. Maria covertly gathered evidence. Lost clothes, rumpled blankets, and empty wine bottles. Her capture of Philip and Stacy is compromising. Part of me resists seeing them, but I may need confirmation. Philip's behavior has altered as my due date approaches. I find him distracted and irritable in the hospital. He's always on his phone, smiling at unsent texts. When I ask who he's talking to, he says work or ignores me. Stacy disappeared recently. I overheard her talking to Philip in the passageway last time she visited. I heard after the baby comes and fresh start, but it was hard to understand. I felt nauseous when I thought they may plan without me. Stress is getting to me despite my efforts to stay calm for the baby. My doctors noticed my elevated heart rate and blood pressure. Many people tell me to relax, but my stress comes from more than pregnancy. Yesterday was the culmination. My labor began 3 weeks early. Birth was long and hard. We had a daughter after 20 hours of labor. She's little yet healthy with strong lungs. The first hug erased pain and betrayal. Loved our child so much. I hoped her arrival revived Philip. Goals were dashed quickly. After the nurses cleaned up our kid, Philip made me sign release forms. He demanded taking the baby home immediately. He was annoyed when I fretted about leaving the hospital abruptly. I declined the nurse's offer of our daughter to Philip or Stacy. I felt uneasy about trusting them with her. Delivery room arguments erupted. Philip called me hormonal and unreasonable. I allegedly tried to keep him from his child. Philip left angry. He returned the next day with temporary custody documents they had acquired. He snatched our baby daughter and left the hospital with Stacy smiling smugly before I could complain. Writing from my hospital bed, recovering after childbirth and reeling. Within 24 hours my kid was taken. My pain and numbness alternate. The nurses are kind and supportive. They can't fix it. Really, my marriage is over, shattered by lies at our peak. No idea what's next. Fearful about what'll be at home. Will Philip show me our daughter? How did things go wrong so fast? Regaining strength is my goal. I know my fight awaits. For my daughter's honor and future. I am less trustworthy than I was a few months ago. Whatever happens, I'll support my daughter. Now only she matters. Final update. Since my last update 3 months ago, lots has changed. Beautiful daughter sleeps with me in my childhood bedroom at my parents' house. It took a while, but I'm on track. I was devastated when Philip took our daughter from the hospital. Nurses helped physically and mentally. They hugged me after the birth and heard my awful story. One caring nurse allowed me talk to my brother Andrew about the problem. Andrew moved swiftly as a lawyer. After flying to my city the next day, he was hospitalized. His familiar face rescued me from a storm. This was my first support in months. Andrew escorted me from the hospital to his friend's house to recover. I hesitated about leaving my newborn, but Andrew promised to return her. He quickly began gathering proof and legal documents. Maria, my amazing maid and friend, saved me again. She showed Philip and Stacy's acts via photos, films, and a notebook. Although difficult to view, I knew it was crucial for the future. Andrew requested emergency custody of my daughter, owing to Philip's insanity and affair. We divorced utilizing Maria's proof of Philip's infidelity. Weeks of lawyer meetings, court hearings, and emotional evenings followed. A judge handed me full custody of my daughter after what felt like an age. I will always remember holding her again and promising to never let anyone steal her. After custody, divorce followed. Andrew presented a solid case. Philip was stunned and defeated by our divorce papers and proof. He understood he was imprisoned. Stacy was furious when her ideas failed. She likely believed she and Philip would escape and raise my daughter. Her only assets were a ruined reputation and an unfaithful spouse. Due to the overwhelming evidence against Philip, the divorce was quick. I got our house, most of our assets, and full daughter custody. Philip hasn't used supervised visitation. After the litigation settlement, Andrew helped my daughter and I pack. Maria, who was crucial during our experience, is gone. I promised to stay in touch and thanked her for everything. I'm staying with my parents in my hometown while I decide. It's not what I envisioned at 28, a single mother starting over. Support and love make all the difference. Daughter is okay. My happy, healthy 3-month-old brightens my world. Every smile and look reveals that agony has developed something beautiful. I'm pleased she won't remember her first day's tumult. My healing is slow. Sometimes betrayal hits me hard and I wonder how I was blind. But those days are fading. I'm working on self-love and trust in therapy. I'm considering attending school or changing careers. I finally have choices. Maybe it's okay that my life didn't go as planned. Stronger, smarter, and anxious for my daughter. Philip has constantly tried to contact me with pathetic excuses. Disregarded them. All. I hear Stacy returned home, ending her internship and plans of playing house with Philip. I recall our happy times by looking at old Philip and me photos. Knowing the outcome is bittersweet. The journey led me to my child, thus I have no regrets. She's my best achievement, so I'll continue. I'm writing this while my darling girl sleeps, finally at rest. I'll confront whatever comes next, however hard. Not just surviving, I'm rebuilding, learning, and planning. Whatever I can manage. Now I'm more than myself. Motherhood gives me strength I didn't realize I had.